Hello, everyone. We are so excited. This is the Real Estate View, and I'm your co host, Nikki, joined here with Lorraine and Kim. How are you, ladies?
Everyone.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon.
Thanks for that lovely introduction.
Yes. So, how
You're
are you both
welcome.
doing? I feel like we believe it's July? Do we know it is July 1?
Yep.
I
I
don't
don't know.
know. Like, it
It's
feels like it's crazy, right?
I still remember January 1, and we're
Yes,
in
it's
July.
true.
I
It's
It's
wish
just
we
true.
were
going.
still in Q1.
Yes, exactly.
We're finishing Q2, or Q2 has ended.
Huh.
Yes, and for all of the business owners out there, you definitely understand the differences or the importance of getting in your goals and everything that you want to do in quarter 1 and in quarter 2, because
Yes,
now us being in quarter 3, I mean, it's so funny how our minds work. It's like the year is over already for the
yes,
most part.
Yeah.
Like when you're in business, it's
really.
like if you don't do everything you need to do in that first half of the month, the second half of the month, excuse me, that first half of the
Year. Yeah.
year, that second half of the year is really just planning for the next
For the
year. It's
next
just
year.
Yes.
that's just the revolving circle that or how we operate. It's so
It's
crazy.
it's super crazy when you think about that, right?
Hmm.
You're like, half of the year is gone. Like, where? Why? How come?
I know. So now you got to step on it in Q3 and prep for
You're
Yep.
like, oh
Q4.
yes, yes,
And sometimes it's even more challenging when it's just you in the business, right? When it's
yes.
just you are the, what is the term? The solopreneur sort of the
Solopreneur,
business. It's
all
just
the
like if
hats.
all the hats and then
Yeah.
some, the hats and the shoes and the gloves,
Uh-huh.
all of it. So when it's just you in the business, it really feels like time is flying. And I think that
Yes.
kind of, leads us into our topic for today in terms of when do you consider a joint venture, or what is a joint venture? How do you do it? Do they work? All those questions that come up.
Yeah, because at some point, being a solopreneur you can only do that but for so long, so you're going to need help at some point to share the load of the work, because the time flies by so quickly because you're so busy. You don't even realize that the days are just slipping by. So yeah, opening up joint ventures or partnerships ultimately is usually what happens in business.
Hmm.
You can keep going.
And I think it's part of growing, right?
Yeah.
Like you're just limited when you're just you. Like Kim, you're saying, like, there's just 24 hours in a day. You still have to sleep, you still have to eat, you still have
Mhm.
family, there's all those things to do, and that you have to do. And so in order for us to grow, at one point we will join venture with some other people. And so I
Hmm.
love the topic of today. What is joint venture? For us, for me, in our business, joint venture, it's literally finding different people that align with our vision. So for us, whenever I Can Developer decided to joint venture with someone, which we are actually doing right now in one of our projects, which is a big multi-unit. And so we're joining venture with this other investor that shares the same vision, the same
Mhm.
goal. So more than the money, right? Money is important, but I'm telling you, really, more than the money, the core principle, what you stand for, is what really is going to make the success or the flop of your joint venture. And this
Right.
is really something that I've seen in when I meet other people that they share their stories.
Right, because I think we touched on briefly a few weeks ago. We touched on joint ventures. We didn't really delve into it like we're hoping to do today. And it's all about, if you guys, you and the partner that you're going to joint venture with, if you guys are not on the same page, the
Mm,
relationship's not going to work.
not gonna work. Mm-mm.
Because you can't have
Absolutely.
yeah, you can't be a push and pull. You have to push together or pull
Mm.
together. You
Yes.
know?
And sometimes within the joint venture, you do have a sort of a yin and a yang type of
Yes.
relationship as well, because oftentimes that might be why the joint venture was formed in the first place. Maybe your partner has a strength in one area that's not necessarily your strength. And so joint venture and vice versa, right? So joining together helps you to get to the end goal or get to the quote unquote promised land a little bit easier because
Mhm.
now you're both working in your strengths. And that just really speaks more to both of your points, but especially Mickey's point about aligning the vision. If we both
Mm-hmm.
want to get to X, but I only like doing Y and they only like
Mhm.
doing Z, how are we going to get there? Right. And
Yes.
so I think that sometimes it is part of it too.
And I will caution people like, sometimes you might think, oh, this is my friend or here is my brother, like family. We
Yeah.
often hear those stories of like, don't mix family with business.
Yeah.
And I used to think that it was a bit harsh, right? But there is some truth in it. I've seen, my parents being in business with their siblings, and they had developed these very strict rules between them that when they were in the business setting, it was the business setting, and you couldn't bring family stories or family things into it. And interest was interest. It needed to be paid in time. You're my brother, but hey, this is the
Exactly.
limits, the boundaries were there so that their business relationship was protected.
Yeah.
And so this is one of the things that you have to know about family. And also friendship, it's you can be very good friend with someone. It doesn't mean that you're going to work well with that person,
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah,
right?
because everybody has their own personality, and it's all
Yes.
who you mesh well with, who you get along with, best
Yes.
to form that relationship with and work together.
Like, one of my friend, I love to go travel with her because she's such a party person. But I'm telling you, I will never do business with her. We might party all the time,
Hopefully,
and
she's
won't
not
get
listening.
anywhere.
Hopefully she's not listening. It's all love. It's all love if you're listening.
Yes, friend, she loves you.
Yes. No, she knows. She knows. She knows that her and I, it's this long adventure ride that we're always going to have together. And so you just have to know that, you get business done, it's just a different world. And the relationship has to be defined. Like you define the lines, who does what, at what time. You still have to have all those schedules and all those expectations that need to be put on the table as you're starting into that joint venture.
Yep.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's a business, and
It is.
money is still to be made. Money has to be made in order for the
Yes.
business to keep afloat.
Yes.
And I think I'll also point out that it doesn't necessarily mean that if you're doing a joint venture that you have to work with this
Hmm.
person for the duration of the business. I mean, maybe you're joint venturing for one particular deal. I mean, as we look at real estate, if your partner has a lead on a property, but maybe you don't have that lead, but maybe you have resources to capital or resources to contractors or however it works itself out. Maybe you just joint venture for that particular deal and maybe it doesn't continue. That doesn't mean that the joint venture itself wasn't successful. It just means that you're not lifelong partners, but the partnership or the what's the word I want to use, but I guess the joining of the two of you for this particular deal just is what made sense. So I guess I just want to mention the fact that joint ventures don't have to mean that, oh, I decided to do business with this person so we're stuck. Not necessarily. It could just be for that deal.
Right. And then, of course, you always have to have your paperwork in order,
Exactly.
have
Yeah.
everything looked over by an attorney, and
Yes.
to make sure that, the roles are established and clearly written out in the document.
Yep.
Yes. And as Lorraine was saying, it's I see joint venture like if you're in a relationship, this is like the dating phase.
Yeah.
Like partnership, it's really you're getting married to the
Yes.
other company. It's like you're
Right.
getting married. There's more paperwork involved, LLCs and all of that. Joint venture is like this very safe place to test
Test
your.
the waters out a little bit.
Yes, yes. And I've met people that have been joint venture for like, 10 years.
They just didn't want
And
to put a ring on it yet. They didn't want to
yes,
put a
they
ring on
didn't want to
it.
involve at that level of the partnership. And they were very comfortable in just being joint ventures because, in their mind, it didn't limit them into going and, growing their company on each side, but still having that joint venture together, which also works. And so I think that's the beauty of it, is that you can also go and joint venture with, you know, different companies as you are with this one, depending on the different project that you have. So it gives
Right.
you this flexibility to go and just, you know, grow in different areas at the same time.
Right. I mean, we haven't, Onyx Homes hasn't personally done any joint ventures, but I know, we're open to doing joint ventures, of course. And Lorraine, being in the note space, how does joint venturing work for you, or work in that aspect?
So I have a bit of a unique, well, I mean, maybe not too unique, but a bit of a unique twist on joint ventures when I'm looking to do it for mortgage note investing, because it's such a niche and generally an industry or a strategy that not a lot of people know about. I
Mhm.
generally offer the opportunity to do a joint venture. So again, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're forming a brand new company or, locked into doing all of our mortgage note investing together, but it does lend an opportunity to be able to partner with someone who has experience and resources within the space, and you can kind of learn while you earn at the same time. So that's sort of the spin that I put on it, being able to joint venture with me, to be able to see what the life of a note is from start to finish. So then you could potentially go out and do it on your own, or we just continue to joint venture on different deals. It just lends you the opportunity to maybe leverage someone else's experience
Yes.
or expertise in an area.
I love that. And, I think that it's so good. Like, even us, when we started a business, like, I would have dreamed that someone would have joint venture with me on our
Right,
first deal,
exactly.
because we
Hmm.
didn't, we didn't know exactly what we were doing. It was just so hard. But when you can leverage the experience of the other one, it makes such a big difference. And so this is something that us at Icon Developers, we are open to, with people, students in our area and all. We are very open into joining venture with them on their first deal, just because we know what it was.
Yeah, and I
Yes.
think that's great. And that's even a great option, because you're so right. Like when you're first starting out, a lot of the time, the biggest hurdle is getting over that experience hurdle. Oh, how
Yes.
many deals have you done? How many of this? How many of that? So if you're partnering or joint venturing with someone who's done it, you just piggyback off of their experience. Oh yeah, my partner and I, we've been doing this for 5, 10 years. And I mean, even though this might be your first deal and you have the knowledge, that piggybacking off that other person's experience just gets you a foot in the door.
Yeah.
So that can also be a way to kind of look at joint ventures.
I mean,
And it's
I
the
agree with
same
that.
thing.
Go
What?
ahead.
No, I was going to ask you, Kim, like, have you seen a difference between the first time you went to a lender for your first deal and couple of these deals later, how they treat you?
Oh, absolutely. And that's what I was
Hmm.
just that was gonna bring me to my next point, is that when you're first starting out, all of the lenders want to know, how many deals have you done? You
Hmm.
have no experience, you have no skin in the game. Don't you like
Yeah,
that word, skin in the
the
Oh,
game?
skin of the
yeah.
game.
Oh,
Oh,
Yes,
that gets
yeah.
under my skin.
that gets
Mhm.
You have no
that's
skin in the game. So, when you're first starting out, I would not beneficial, but it's helpful to joint venture with somebody who has the experience, because now that you have, a few deals under your belt, the
Mhm.
lenders treat you differently. You
Yes,
know,
Yep.
they do,
you
which
get
is
better
super
rates.
unfair.
I know. So, I mean, if you're just starting out and you're looking, even if it's just, to talk to somebody about how to get started, you know, any one of us is available to talk,
Yep.
about any type of joint venture.
Absolutely. And if even if you're watching us live or you're catching the replay, a lot of our contact information is on the platform that you're listening to or hearing from us. So definitely, like Kim said, reach out, because we're here to help, and we understand what it's like getting off the ground.
Yeah,
So
we were the new people in the business a few years
Yes,
ago. So,
yes.
we totally understand how difficult it can be, especially at the beginning.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
think, another thing, as we've been talking, another thing that I thought about is affiliate relationships, right?
Mm,
So affiliate relationships aren't exactly joint ventures, but maybe they could be a warm up to a joint venture. Like maybe you have an affiliate relationship with a vendor, and the exchange is going so well that maybe they say, hey, we'd like to sponsor you on our website and vice versa. And that could lead into a potential joint venture down the line. And then I don't know if you ladies agree. I know that each of us through our different businesses have definitely established great working relationships with various
yes.
vendors that do work for our businesses.
I mean, it's funny that you brought that up because I was just speaking to a lender. I sent him a referral,
Nice.
a few weeks back. So he was super excited about that. So, and he was happy to hear from me today as well. So, yeah, that affiliate, the affiliate program is very good. Yeah.
It
Yep.
works so well.
Hmm,
Yeah.
it does.
And I think it's so important in our business, right? Because it's a people based
Hmm.
business.
Yes.
Like if people think that this is a no, real estate, it's just about the people who you know and all of that. This is how you're gonna grow. And
Yep.
so the more you get to have those potential relationship, that's how you're going to grow. And if you have the goal of doing something, this is actually what I realized as we were going into the multi-unit
Hmm.
space. I was thinking like, who do I know that is doing multi-units? Let me knock at their doors, let me talk with them and get to be into a relationship so that either we can join venture,
Hmm.
because I can always find a deal, but it doesn't mean that the lender will lend it to me, because here again, I'm the newbie. They'll be like, no, you did residential. It's not the same thing. And I do get
Hmm.
it. It's not the same thing. And so I still need to join venture with someone that has more experience than me to piggyback on their experience. And so wherever you are in your journey, like if you want to do something, it's always helpful to know who has done it before you so that at least you can have their experience, or, you can get on a call with them. So most of the time people want to share what they've learned.
Yep.
Yeah. Just not to boast or brag. It's just just to give you a little bit of insight into,
Yes.
what you have to look forward to.
Yes.
And maybe some pitfalls that they've encountered that you
Mhm.
necessarily don't need to encounter, just based off of their experience. So it's always good to just jump on a call with somebody, just ask questions.
Yeah. And it could be little things like, where do you register your LLC, or what did you put exactly into
Yeah.
the different rules into it? What did you use or what did you do? It's just those little details that makes a whole difference.
And I think like all of these points are tying back to, I feel, a theme that comes up a lot on our shows, and it's networking, right? The only
Mm,
way you're going to, well, I shouldn't say the only way, but one of the best ways that you're going to probably come across your next joint venture or your next joint partnership is by networking. And you'll be surprised that sometimes it's the person that you least expect that you would actually vibe with, or for lack of better words, actually find
Well,
chemistry with,
vibe
that
is a
you're
good
like
word
the vibe. I think vibe is a good
vibe
word.
works. Vibe works.
because we
We'll take
vibe.
it.
We all vibe for sure. And so, and you just never know. You continue to see the same person at the networking meetings or the boot camp or however you interact, and you're like, you know what, I like this person's style, or we
Mm,
think the same when it comes along the lines of whatever it is. I think I could really do business with this person, and then see how that develops. So it's all about the networking.
Yeah,
it
definitely. I mean, and
is.
when we talked about networking, I think that was one of our first episodes. Is we
Yes.
talked about networking. I recently, myself and two other members here in the Chicago area, we started. We revived our networking group. So we are having
Nice.
Hey.
Zoom calls. I know, right? And we're going to
Nice.
be having our first in-person meeting coming up, and it's all about networking because I see a potential JV partnership coming out of that. Reviving of that networking group.
That's awesome.
That's pretty awesome.
Awesome. And people are chomping at the bit for in-person events nowadays.
Oh
So that's going to be a great kickoff.
Yes. And about Javing, as we're finishing here, So important to just make sure that you have the same value as the other person, that the drive is the same, that the goals are the same. And yes, money is important, but really, I would not put the money first, because it's so much easier to work with someone that have the same value as you.
Well, you
Yeah,
know what they say, Mickey. Not all money is good money. That's
yeah,
I've heard that
exactly.
a couple of times.
That's so
So
good.
yeah.
Agreed.
So
And
true.
we're in the business of helping people, and whether it's sellers, buyers, colleagues, that's what we do. We help people.
Yep.
Yes. And don't be afraid to share your vision, right? The vision of your business, the vision of where you want to go. The other person needs to know, because if they're not aligned with you, then they're not going to feel comfortable, and they will tell you, "Hey, I was not thinking this way, and so I think it won't work." And that's okay. Like, the whole purpose of going and talking with that person on specific things is to get to the know as fast as possible,
Yes.
right? Get
Yes.
to the know as fast as possible, so you move on, so that you don't stay in that like limbo thing
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Get to the know as fast as possible.
Agreed. I
One,
think that's probably the best one of the best lines that we can leave everyone with is just get to the know
Yeah.
and make sure that you both have the same vision or the same goal for what you're trying to accomplish.
yeah,
Yes.
because I've heard way too many horror stories about joint ventures.
Trust
Not,
me.
yeah, not ending up the right way. So
Yes.
get to the know as
Get
quick
to
as
the know.
possible. Yeah.
And right before I know we're wrapping up, so we're actually going to have firsthand a glimpse at a joint venture or a joint partnership that has been very successful since they started doing business together. I don't know if you ladies want to expand upon it, but we have our first guest next week. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kim. Share the news.
We will be having Liz and Marie come on our show to discuss their partnership and how they got into business together, what they're doing in business, and it's going to be super exciting. We're excited
Yes,
to have them.
looking forward to it.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. So
So,
until next week, until Liz and Marie gets here, jazz hands. If you know Liz,
jazz
you like the jazz
hands.
hands.
Woo!
Have a happy 4th of July
4th of
weekend. 4th of
July.
July
You
weekend.
see, the time is going so fast. I'm
Yeah.
like, wait, what month is it? What? It's
Have a happy,
crazy.
long, extended 4th of July weekend. And I'm going to change it up a little bit this week. Loss is a lesson.
Yes.
All right.
Nice.
Know your why.
Know your heart.
And know your purpose. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Bye. Till next week.
Bye.
Bye.
See you next week.